You've prayed, you've waited, you've cried in the midnight hour, and still, no text, no ring, no I love you. You're asking God, when is it my turn? But I came to tell you, delay is not denial. And what you think is a setback is actually a setup for something divine. Delay is not denial, it's divine development. That truth right there will save your heart from bitterness if you let it. Because when it comes to love, when it comes to companionship, when it comes to wanting someone to see you, choose you, pursue you, and it doesn't happen, the enemy loves to whisper, you're forgotten, you've been passed over, maybe you're not good enough. But can I shut the enemy up right now and tell you the truth? God's delay is not rejection, it's refinement, it's intentional, it's heaven's way of saying, I love you too much to let you step into something unprepared. You see, when God delays love in your life, He's not withholding it to punish you. He's protecting something sacred. Because real love, the kind that mirrors heaven, the kind that builds homes and raises children and survives storms, that love takes time. That love takes maturity. That love takes healing. And God knows, oh, He knows, that if He gave it to you too soon, it would either destroy you or you'd destroy it. Sometimes we want the blessing, but we don't want the building process. We want the ring, but not the refinement. We want the wedding, but we don't want the waiting. But God says, no, 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 I'm doing something in your heart first. I'm teaching you how to be loved by me before you try to be loved by them. Because if you don't know how to be affirmed by the Father, you'll start needing validation from people who were never assigned to your destiny. That delay, it's shaping your character. It's breaking off old patterns. It's making sure you don't repeat generational cycles of broken relationships. It's God making sure that this time, when love comes, it's not going to hurt you like the last time. It's not going to drain you. It's not going to silence your purpose. It's going to push you deeper into it. So don't misinterpret your delay. Don't look at everyone else's timeline and assume God skipped over you. No, God is too strategic to be sloppy. He didn't forget. He's just busy customizing a connection, customizing a covenant, customizing your capacity to love and be loved the right way. And when it finally comes, when God says now, you're going to realize it wasn't late, it was right on time. Because it came after your healing, after your identity was rooted, after your standards were raised, after your calling was clear. And you'll look back on the delay, not as a disappointment, but as a divine act of love. Can you trust Him in the waiting? Can you still worship in the delay? Because if you can, you'll find out that God wasn't just working on them. He was working on you. And that's the kind of love story that doesn't just last. It glorifies God. God is not just preparing the right person for you. He's preparing the right you for that person. Let that sink in. Because so often when we think of delay in love, we imagine that the problem is out there somewhere, in someone else. God must be working on them. God must be aligning their steps. God must be fixing their heart. And yes, He might be doing that. But the deeper truth is, sometimes the delay is because He's trying to do surgery on your heart. See, we say we want love, but love will expose everything in you that's not rooted. It will expose your insecurities, your expectations, your brokenness, your need for control, your fear of abandonment. All of it comes to the surface when you start to love someone and let them love you back. So God in His mercy says, before I give you someone else's heart to steward, let me make sure you know how to guard your own. You're asking God for a king or a queen, but are you being shaped into royalty yourself? You want a relationship built on trust, but can you be trusted? You want a love that sees you, supports you, and respects you, but are you doing the deep inner work so that you can give the same in return? Because a lot of people don't realize this. We attract not what we want, but who we are. God doesn't want you to meet someone and then become ready. He wants you to be ready before you meet them. Because when you meet the one God has for you, you won't have time to go back and unlearn broken patterns. You won't have time to heal from the wounds you ignored. You won't have time to suddenly discover who you are. By the time you step into covenant, you need to be so rooted in your identity that you don't lose yourself trying to love someone else. That's what this delay is about. It's about becoming emotionally healthy, spiritually grounded, mentally stable, and relationally mature. Because we don't just need butterflies, we need foundation. We don't need fairy tales, we need fruit. And fruit comes from depth, from pruning, from time, and from intentional growth. Maybe God is stretching you in this season. Maybe He's teaching you to be vulnerable. Maybe He's digging up the lies you believed about love from your childhood. Maybe He's detoxing you from counterfeit versions of connection, so when the real thing comes, you won't reject it or ruin it out of fear. God's goal isn't just to get you in a relationship, it's to make you someone who can thrive in one. And let me tell you, the love you're praying for, the one God has for you, won't complete you. It will complement the completeness you already found in Him. So don't rush the process. Don't resent the silence. Let God keep working on you. Because the more you become who He called you to be, the clearer you'll see who's supposed to walk beside you. This season is not wasted. It's working. And when the preparation meets the promise, you'll understand why God took His time. You're not waiting alone. You're waiting with God. And that right there shifts everything. Because when you believe you're waiting alone, the silence becomes unbearable. The nights feel endless. The prayers feel like echoes. The enemy starts whispering, "See, nobody's coming. Nobody sees you, not even God." But I came to tell you, that's a lie. Because the truth is, you are not abandoned in your waiting. You are accompanied. You are not alone in the delay. You are in divine company. God is not distant while you're longing. He's not on vacation while your heart aches. He's present, and not only is He present, He's active. He is shaping, molding, healing, and guiding you in the silence. He's standing with you in every lonely night, every tear-soaked pillow, every wedding invitation that triggers you, every anniversary post that stings your heart. You're not crying to God, you're crying with God. He is right there, closer than your breath. We often think waiting is passive, as if we're just sitting in a holding pattern, like we're in a long line, waiting to be called forward. But biblical waiting is never passive. It is active trust. It is spiritual intimacy. It's choosing to wake up every day and say, "God, I don't see it yet, but I still trust you." It's the kind of waiting that draws you closer to the Father, not farther. This is the season where God wants to show you that He is your first love, that your worth doesn't come from who chooses you, texts you, dates you, or marries you, but from the one who already died for you. He wants to pour into you so deeply that you never again look for people to fill what only He can fulfill. Because if you don't learn to enjoy God's presence in the waiting, you'll idolize someone else's presence in the relationship. The waiting season is holy ground. It's where identity is forged. It's where intimacy with God is deepened. This is where you learn how to be filled when you feel empty. This is where your roots grow down into living water, so that you don't dry up just because someone isn't pouring into you. This is where God shows you that His love is not a backup plan. It is the plan. When you're waiting with God, you're not just preparing for a relationship. You're building a legacy. You're developing strength in the secret place that will sustain you in public places. You're learning how to hear His voice. So when another voice shows up, no matter how charming, no matter how persuasive, you'll be able to discern, is this from God, or is this a distraction dressed like a blessing? So yes, you might be waiting, but you're not waiting like the world waits. You're waiting with purpose. You're waiting with promise. You're waiting with a partner, and that partner is the King of Kings. Don't let the enemy convince you that you're forgotten. You are favored, and favor sometimes looks like isolation, because God wanted your full attention. This is not a lonely season. This is a season of intimacy. Don't rush through it. Don't despise it. Sit with the Savior. Let Him love you like no one else ever could. Because when love finally comes, and it will, you won't just be ready for them. You'll already be rooted in Him. Loneliness is a classroom, not a curse. And the sooner you see it that way, the sooner your pain becomes power. The enemy wants you to believe that loneliness means you're less than, that because you're single, unseen, or unchosen, something must be wrong with you. But I came to break that lie and declare a higher truth. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's a place of preparation. It's not a void, it's a venue where God teaches, shapes, and matures your heart in ways that only solitude can provide. We live in a world that rushes to fill every silence. A culture that tells you if you're not in a relationship, you're behind. If you're not partnered up, you're missing out. But let me ask you, what if the very thing you're calling a curse is the place where God is doing his deepest work in you? What if the stillness you're trying to escape is the sacred space where God is giving you clarity, healing you from old wounds, and revealing your true identity? Because here's the truth, loneliness exposes what distraction hides. When you're alone, you can't run from yourself. You can't cover your wounds with someone else's attention. You can't silence your fears with flirtation. In the classroom of loneliness, God turns the lights on. He shows you what's beneath the surface. He helps you confront the lies you've believed about yourself, that you're not lovable, not worthy, not enough. And in that same sacred space, he starts speaking new truth over you. You are chosen. You are mine. You are whole even before anyone else sees it. Loneliness isn't just the absence of people, it's the opportunity for divine presence. It's where God reintroduces himself, not as a distant deity, but as your father, your comforter, your best friend. It's where your relationship with God stops being religious and becomes real. You start talking to him differently. You hear him more clearly, you lean on him more heavily, and suddenly the ache you once resented becomes the altar where you encounter him most intimately. And let me tell you something, there are lessons you can only learn alone. There is wisdom that only grows in silence. There is strength that only forms in solitude. If you skip this class, you risk entering the next season of your life unprepared. Because if you don't find your identity in God before love comes, you'll make the relationship your source instead of your supplement. And when that person can't fill the God-sized void in your heart, you'll either become desperate or disappointed. You've got to learn how to be full even when you're by yourself. How to laugh without a partner, how to dream without a co-signer, how to enjoy your own company without needing someone else to validate. This is your time to grow, to heal, to study yourself, to build your character, to become who God created you to be, unfiltered, unchained, and unafraid. Some of the greatest people in the Bible had to walk through loneliness before they stepped into purpose. Joseph was alone David was alone in the fields. Jesus was alone in the wilderness. But each of them emerged not bitter but built, not wounded but weaponized for their assignment. So the next time you feel lonely, don't curse it, lean into it. Ask God, what are you teaching me in this silence? What are you maturing in me? What are you preparing me for that requires this kind of pruning? Because when you graduate from the classroom of loneliness, you won't just be ready to receive love, you'll be ready to protect it, nurture it, and honor it. You'll no longer chase people out of emptiness. You'll attract the right person from a place of wholeness. There's purpose in your pain and power in your patience. You might not see it now. You might be standing in the middle of a season that feels like one long heartbreak, one long delay, one long silence. But I came to tell you, none of it is wasted. Not one tear, not one sleepless night, not one unanswered prayer is lost in the wind. God is gathering all of it, pressing it, shaping it, refining it, and using it to build something far greater than you imagined. There is purpose in your pain. We don't like pain. We try to avoid it, numb it, rush past it, cover it up with distractions or rebound relationships. But pain in the hands of God becomes the chisel that carves purpose into your soul. It's not cruelty, it's construction. God is using that pain not to punish you, but to position you. Because there are some things you can't learn on the mountain. There are some revelations that only come from the valley. There is an anointing that only comes through breaking. And the breaking you're going through is not a sign of failure. It's evidence that something deeper is being unlocked inside of you. You're asking God to bring you love, but He's using this pain to teach you how to love from a healed place. You're praying for connection, but He's allowing this season to teach you how to stand on your own, not in pride, but in identity. Because until you know who you are outside of a relationship, you'll always depend on someone else to define you inside of it. God's not being cruel, He's being careful. He's guarding you from premature partnerships that look good on Instagram but crumble in real life. The pain is teaching you how to discern. It's showing you what red flags look like when they're dressed in charm. It's giving you wisdom, emotional intelligence, spiritual awareness, things you couldn't get in a textbook, things no dating app could ever teach you. You're learning what your soul needs, not just what your eyes want. You're discovering the strength to say no to what looks good but isn't God. And then there's the patience, the waiting that tests your heart. Oh, patience is a power most people underestimate, because anybody can jump into something fast. Anybody can settle for what's convenient. But it takes power to wait on what's right. It takes power to say, I'd rather be single and sane than attached and anxious. It takes power to trust that God's timing is still better than your timeline. And every day that you choose to wait in faith rather than act out of fear, heaven is applauding your strength. Patience is stretching you. It's expanding your capacity. It's teaching you how to carry something long before you hold it in your hand. Because true love, the kind that lasts, the kind that reflects God, isn't microwaved. It's marinated in time, prayer, process, and preparation. And what you're doing right now in the waiting is not passive. It's warfare. It's discipline. It's faith in action. You're becoming someone who can sustain what God sends. That's the purpose of the pain. That's the power of the patience. God is not just giving you a love story. He's giving you endurance. Because when storms come, and they will, it's not your feelings that will hold your relationship together, it's your foundation. And the foundation is being built now in the waiting, in the crying, in the pressing, in the trusting. So hold on, keep building, keep believing. Don't waste your pain, mine it. Dig into it. Let God extract the oil from it. Let Him make you wise. Let Him make you strong. Let Him make you whole. Because when the time comes, when love shows up at your door, you won't just be ready to receive it, you'll be strong enough to keep. God is not withholding love from you, He's protecting it for you. And that truth right there will change how you see every delay, every disappointment, every closed door, and every almost that didn't quite make it to forever. Because when you believe that God is withholding, you start to think He's punishing you. You start to think you've done something wrong, that you're not worthy, not beautiful enough, not spiritual enough, not lovable. But when you understand that He's protecting everything, you begin to see that the no was really His mercy, that the heartbreak was actually a rescue mission, that the silence was His shield. You've got to understand God is not just the giver of love, He is the guardian of your heart. He doesn't hand it over light. He doesn't release you into a relationship just because you're lonely. He waits until the person you're meant to walk with can handle the weight of who you are, your calling, your destiny, your vulnerability, your anointing. You think you're just asking for a relationship, but God knows what you're really carrying, and He's not going to pair you with someone who will drain you, distract you, or derail your assignment. So yes, it feels like love is taking forever. Yes, it feels like everyone else is finding their person, while you're still stuck in a waiting room that feels like it has no exit. But maybe what you call delay is actually divine. Maybe God blocked that relationship because He saw what was on the other side of it, the pain, the betrayal, the compromise, the confusion. Maybe He let it fall apart because He knew it was never meant to hold you in the first place. Some of you are still grieving over what God rescued you from. You're calling it rejection, but heaven called it protection. We cry over doors God had to slam shut to save our soul. We mourn people who walked away, not realizing that their absence is the space where God is making room for something better. And you've got to trust Him enough to believe that if it was truly for you, you'd still have it. If it was God's best, it would still be standing. Because what God ordains, He sustains. What He sends, He covers. And what He promises, He protects, even from you, even from your desire to rush ahead of His timing. God is too wise to make mistakes and too loving to be cruel. So if He's telling you to wait, it's not because He's toying with your heart. It's because He's preparing something so solid, so sacred, so strategic, that it has to be released at the right moment, not 1 second sooner. He's not preparing love for where you are, He's preparing it for where you're going. And if you got it now, it might fit your current needs, but crush your future calling. So trust the protection, trust the boundaries He's placing around your heart, trust the people He's removing, the situations He's blocking, the opportunities He's closing off. Every no is a redirect, every delay is a disguise for deliverance. And every time you feel like God is holding something back, remind yourself, He's really holding something sacred for the right time. God is not ignoring your prayers, He's storing the promise. He's aligning hearts, developing character, orchestrating timing. Because when love finally comes, and it will, you'll look back and say, thank you, Lord, for every door you closed, every heartbreak you healed, and every moment you held me while I didn't understand. The right relationship at the wrong time can become the wrong relationship. Let that sink in, because some of us are so focused on the who that we forget about the when. We're praying for a person, crying for connection, begging God for partnership, but we overlook the process that makes that connection holy. We ask for the blessing, but we don't always consider the preparation required to carry it well. Because if it shows up too soon, before you're healed, before you're whole, before you're rooted in identity and grounded in truth, even the right person can feel like the wrong situation. There is a timing to everything God ordained. Heaven doesn't operate on your emotional clock or societal pressure. God isn't moved by the fact that everyone else around you seems to be pairing up, posting engagement photos, or starting families. He's not in a rush, He's intentional. If you try to take what's divine and force it into your own calendar, you risk damaging what was meant to be a gift. Because the truth is, it's not just about finding love, it's about being ready to steward love. And if we're honest, some of us were praying for a person while still bleeding from the last one. Still carrying trust issues, insecurities, patterns, and pain we haven't laid down at the altar. God sees them. He knows that if He were to bring someone into your life right now, you might not love them, you might use them, you might cling to them for validation, you might expect them to fill what only God was ever meant to satisfy. That's why God delays sometimes, not to deny you, but to develop you. You can't build something lasting with someone if your foundation is still cracked. God knows this. That's why He works on you before He releases you. He breaks off old mindsets. He heals childhood wounds. He strips away your dependency on others and strengthens your dependency on Him. Because if you step into something good while still carrying something toxic, you'll contaminate the blessing. And God loves you and the one He's preparing for you too much to let that happen. And hear me clearly, the right person can still become a source of pain if they meet you before your heart is ready. You may sabotage what was sent to bless you because you still haven't made peace with your past. Or maybe you'll idolize them, turning a person into a savior, and no human being was built to carry that weight. Relationships don't fix brokenness, they reveal it. Love doesn't erase pain, it exposes it. And if you're not ready, what was supposed to be mutual becomes messy. What was supposed to be sacred becomes stressful. That's why the delay is not a denial, it's divine alignment. God is maturing you for the weight of covenant. He's teaching you how to be loyal, how to communicate, how to listen without reacting, how to serve without expecting, how to stand without depending. Because real love requires maturity, not just chemistry, not just butterflies, but character, sacrifice, grace. And if you try to love before you've learned those things, you'll hurt the very person you ask God to send. You'll confuse drama for passion, trauma bonding for connection, and manipulation for love. God sees all this, so He slows the process, not because He's forgotten you, but because He's forging you. So the next time you're tempted to rush the process, ask yourself, am I truly ready for what I'm asking for? If love walked into your life today with responsibility, commitment, accountability, and vulnerability, would your current level of emotional and spiritual maturity know how to handle it? If not, thank God for the delay. Because the weight isn't withholding something from you, it's building something in you. When the right relationship comes at the right time, it doesn't just feel right, it functions right. It grows you, it honors God, it aligns with your purpose. It doesn't take you away from God's presence, it pushes you deeper into it. And you'll know the difference. You won't have to force it, chase it, beg for it, or compromise to keep it. It will feel like peace because it will arrive on the wings of divine timing. Trust is built in the dark, not the light. Let me say that again. Trust is built in the dark, not the light. You're in a season where it feels like you're walking through shadows, stumbling, not sure which direction to go, wondering if you'll ever reach the light. And that's exactly where trust is cultivated. We often think trust is built in the moments of clarity, in the times when everything is going right, when the road is smooth and the sun is shining. But that's not the truth. True trust is forged in the fires of uncertainty. It's developed when everything feels like it's falling apart and you can't see your way through. That's when trust has to be at its strongest. You can't trust someone you haven't seen in the dark. You can't trust someone you haven't seen at their worst. And let's be honest, you can't trust yourself until you've seen yourself in the dark. You can't fully know your own heart until you've been tested in the trial. And God allows these seasons of silence, these seasons where everything feels uncertain, so that you can learn to lean not on your own understanding, not on your own strength, not on your own timing, but on when you're walking through the dark season of waiting, when nothing is clear, when no answers are coming, when no love seems to be showing up. It's in that darkness that you begin to realize who God really is. You begin to trust His goodness even when the circumstances don't look good. You learn to trust His plan even when you don't understand it. You start to rest in the fact that He's there even when you can't see Him. And the more you learn to trust Him in the dark, the more you discover that His presence is not limited by your sight. Just because you can't see Him doesn't mean He's not with you. Just because you can't hear Him doesn't mean He's not working. This is where the real foundation is laid. You're learning to trust God not because of what He does for you, but because of who He is. You're learning to trust His heart, His character, His ability to hold you when you can't hold yourself. And that trust doesn't come overnight. It's cultivated over time, in the moments when it feels like everything is unraveling, but you choose to stand firm. It's saying, God, I don't understand why this is happening, but I'm going to trust you anyway. Trust is the muscle that gets stronger the more you exercise it. The more you choose to believe even when the world around you says to give up. And this trust has to be rooted in your identity, because when you know who you are in God, when you know that you are His, when you know that He is for you, when you know that His love is unshakable and unchanging, you can trust that He won't leave you in the dark forever. The darkness is only temporary. The night might feel long, but joy comes in the morning. God is using this time to teach you that your worth is not based on what you can see or feel in the moment, but on the eternal, unmovable truth that you are deeply loved and held in His care. Trust also means that you have to stop trying to control the situation. So many times we try to force things, to make things happen in our own timing. But if you want to trust God fully, you have to surrender your need for control. You have to let go of the false belief that you can dictate the pace of your life or manipulate the outcomes. Because when you surrender control, you make space for God to move in ways you couldn't even imagine. His ways are not your ways, His thoughts are not your thoughts, and His timing is perfect. And when you trust that, when you trust Him enough to step back and let Him lead, you open the door for miracles to happen. Trust doesn't mean you understand everything. It doesn't mean you have all the answers. It doesn't mean the road is easy. It simply means you are choosing to walk forward even when you don't know where the path leads. You are choosing to believe that God's plan is better than anything you could have imagined for yourself. And when you trust God in this way, it changes everything. It shifts your perspective. It takes away the pressure. It removes the fear, because trust is the antidote to fear. And let me say this, God is trustworthy. He has never failed you, and He never will. His word is true. His promises are unbreakable. If He said He's going to do something, He will do it. If He promised to never leave you, He will not leave you. His timing is perfect. His ways are higher. So even when you don't understand, even when you can't see the next step, you can trust. So as you wait, as you walk through the dark seasons, as you cry in the quiet and question in the silence, know this, your trust is not in vain. Your faith is not empty. You are learning to trust in the God who sees the whole picture when you can only see a fragment. And in time you'll see that this darkness was not for your destruction. It was for your development. It was for your destiny. And the trust you build in this season will be the foundation for the love, the relationships, and the purpose that God is preparing for you. There is beauty in the waiting. Let me tell you something, the waiting is not wasted. So often we get caught up in the anxiety of waiting. We're looking at the clock, checking the calendar, constantly wondering when the breakthrough is going to come, when the love we've been praying for is going to show up. We get impatient, frustrated, and sometimes even discouraged. But hear me, there is beauty in the waiting. God is doing something in you even when it feels like nothing is happening. Waiting is not a passive state, it's an active process. You see, when we're waiting, we're growing, we're being shaped. God is working on us in ways that we don't always see, and that's why it's so important to trust His timing. Because the reality is what you're waiting for may be just around the corner. But if you haven't done the internal work, if you haven't surrendered to the process and allowed God to refine you during this waiting season, then you might not be ready to receive what He has for you. You might not be able to handle the blessing that's coming your way. God is so good that He won't give us something before we're ready. He loves us too much to release us into a relationship, into a job, into a situation, or into a calling until we've been prepared for it. And that preparation, my friends, is happening right now in the way. You may feel like time is moving slow, like you're stuck in limbo, but every second of waiting is working for your good. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of uncertainty is part of the process that's forming you into who you need to be to receive the thing God has for you. Waiting is a season of refining. It's a season of shedding the old, of removing the distractions, of eliminating the lies that have been holding you back. It's a season where God strips you of the things that are not in alignment with His will for your life. And although it may be uncomfortable, although it may be painful at times, it's all part of His divine plan. He's not punishing you by making you wait. He's preparing you for something greater. He's preparing you for a love that will last, for a relationship that will build you, not break. He's preparing you for the future He has ordained for you, a future that's filled with hope, purpose, and destiny. You see, waiting also teaches us patience, and patience is a powerful virtue. It's not just about biding your time, twiddling your thumbs, and hoping for the best. Patience is the ability to stay steady, to stay grounded, even when things are uncertain. Patience is the capacity to trust that God is working behind the scenes even when you can't see Him move. It's the strength to keep your heart open, to keep your faith strong, and to continue to walk forward even when the path ahead feels unclear. And here's the thing about patience: it's not just a waiting game, it's a preparation game. The longer you wait, the more your character is developed, the more your trust in God deepens, the more you learn to lean on Him for strength, for direction, for wisdom. Patience teaches us that we are not in control. It teaches us to surrender our timelines to God and to trust that His plan is better than our own. So when you're in the waiting season, instead of focusing on the frustration, focus on the growth. Look for the lessons God is teaching you. What is He showing you about yourself during this time? What is He teaching you about His faithfulness? What is He revealing to you about His time? The more you focus on what God is doing in you during this time, the less frustrated you'll become about what He's not doing right now. And here's another thing: while you're waiting, God is also working on the other person. If you're waiting for love, waiting for the right person to come into your life, understand that God is working on them too. You may not see it, but He's preparing their heart, molding their character, shaping their desires, and getting them ready to walk into your life at the perfect time. And when both of you are ready, when both of you have been prepared for each other, that's when God will bring you together, and it will be a union that is built on a strong foundation of trust, patience, and mutual growth. So trust the process. Trust that God knows exactly what He's doing. Trust that He is using this time to build something beautiful. He's working behind the scenes even when you can't see it. He's orchestrating things in ways that you can't even begin to understand. And when the time is right, when you've been prepared, when both you and the person you've been waiting for have been refined in the waiting, everything will fall into place. The waiting may be hard, but it's not wasted. It's not in vain. It's part of God's divine plan to bring you to a place of greater love, greater purpose, and greater fulfillment. And when you look back on this time, you'll see that every moment of waiting was worth it. You'll see that God's timing was perfect and that He was always working for your good. Don't let your timeline rob you of your blessing. I need you to hear that. Don't let your timeline rob you of your blessing. The world wants everything fast, instant gratification, quick fixes, and immediate results. But the problem with that is when we rush things, we end up missing the depth, the beauty, the purpose that God has for us. We settle for something less than what God wants to give us simply because we're impatient. You see, God's plan is not a microwave process. It's a slow-cooked, deeply marinated kind of blessing. It takes time, it takes preparation, it takes trust, and when we try to rush the process, we're actually getting in the way of the masterpiece God is working on. You have to understand that not every season is meant to be rushed. Some things take time. Relationships take time to build. Healing takes time to unfold. Character takes time to develop.
Purpose takes time to clarify, and most importantly, love takes time to mature. The relationships that are truly worth it, the ones that last, the ones that reflect God's heart, they are the ones that were not rushed, not forced, but were cultivated over time with intention, patience, and trust. What we fail to realize sometimes is that God is working in the background, orchestrating events, aligning people, opening doors, and preparing us for the blessings He is about to release. You might think nothing is happening, but while you're waiting, God is preparing the right time, the right person, the right circumstances. You might not see it yet, but He is busy at work behind the scenes, and the more you try to rush it, the more you're stepping ahead of His time. The more you push, the more you prevent the perfect timing He has for you. We often think that if we could just make something happen now, it will be better for us. But the truth is, if you don't wait for God's timing, you risk ruining the very thing you're praying for. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every few days to see if it's sprouting. If you keep digging it up, you'll never see it grow. You have to trust that the seed is planted, that it's being nurtured, and that it will eventually bear fruit, but only in the right season. And the right season comes in God's time, not ours. There are blessings God is preparing for you that are too big for your current mindset, too big for your current emotional state, too big for your current situation. He has to grow you, shape you, mature you so that you can not only handle the blessing, but steward it well. If He gave you everything you want right now, it might destroy you. But when He gives it to you in His perfect timing, when you've been prepared and grown into the person you need to be to carry it, it will be a blessing beyond measure. And here's the thing, when you trust God's timing, you also trust that He knows what's best for you. Some of you are praying for something that you think will make you happy, but God in His wisdom sees the bigger picture. He sees the end result. He knows what will satisfy your soul, what will help you grow, and what will lead you into your destiny. And sometimes that means saying no to your plans so He can say yes to His. Sometimes that means closing a door you wanted open so that He can open a door that will lead you into more than you could have ever imagined. This is where true surrender comes in. You have to let go of your timeline. You have to release your control. You have to trust that God knows the best timing, even if it doesn't fit with your plans. You can't force your dreams into a schedule. You can't dictate your destiny. You have to allow God to set the pace, because He's been designing your path long before you ever dreamed of it. He knows the seasons you need to go through, the lessons you need to learn, the challenges that will build your strength, and the moments of rest that will renew you for the journey ahead. The greatest breakthroughs in your life will come when you stop forcing things and start resting in God's time. You will look back and realize that every single delay, every closed door, every moment of waiting was a part of the grand design, and that God was never withholding from you. He was simply preparing you for the best. He's a good Father, and He gives good gifts, but He only gives them when you're ready to receive them. So I need you to stop stressing over the timing. Stop rushing to meet some deadline you've set in your mind. Trust that God knows what He's doing. Trust that He's orchestrating everything for your good. He's not ignoring you. He's preparing you. He's not punishing you. He's protecting you. The waiting is not for nothing. It's part of the process. It's part of the plan. And when the right time comes, when God's perfect timing meets your readiness, the blessing will not only be what you need, but it will be more than you imagine. It will be the right love at the right time for the right purpose, and you'll be able to steward it well because you trusted God through the waiting. You let go of your own timeline and embraced His. So don't let your timeline rob you of your blessing. Let God lead. Let God set the pace. Trust in His perfect timing. And when the blessing comes, and it will, you'll see that it was worth the wait. Every minute, every second, every prayer, every tear, all of it was leading you to the greatest gift He had in store for you. It's going to be better than you could have ever imagined.